The podcast has been made. At least the first part of it anyways. Zing! Or should I say zip-ers. Anyways, this is the OSMcast. Hi folks, and welcome back to the OSMcast, your podcast for everything awesome. I'm Basil.
I'm Kevin.
And I'm Douglas.
And that's us. Oh man, this is so good. I had my old chair broke, so I had to get a new chair. But this new chair, don't squeak. Can't hear it.
That's very nice.
Lack of squeaky chairs.
Oh, sadly, this has been a very costly time in quarantine. So, I'm glad I'm employed.
Yeah, we've actually had to replace a dryer and soon to be replacing a refrigerator in my house.
Yeah, my chair went and died on me. 2 days later after I got my new chair in, Anna's chair broke. So we had to order a new chair for Anna. Had to get a new car. It's been a thing. So how y'all doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
On the front lines of the plague war still, but
We're getting our pool opened up. I ordered the parts to construct a greenhouse in my backyard.
Oh, that's cool.
I've been doing a bunch of turning my trash into attractive garden things.
Nice.
Type of projects. That sort of thing.
Cool.
Excellent. So, we're here talking about awesome things, podcasting about them. Perhaps this is now, as of recording, it was just the previous weekend, but it'll be a few weekends since then. But MomoCon online happened. It was good. It was fun. I had a few panels. Some are on YouTube. Some will not be on YouTube.
Seems like a lot of other conventions are trying to jump on the bandwagon after that.
Well, there was the anti-lockdown digital con that sort of sprung up right as, this was happening. They're like, well, cons aren't going to be able to happen. And
right.
Even for MomoCon, they realized it pretty quickly. They wanted to do something.
Yeah.
And even then it took them I think it was a month, maybe two, to do what they did. And for MomoCon, they actually had 2 Twitch channels with both live and pre-recorded content. I was part of that.
Yeah, I actually really love the idea, frankly, but that's I didn't watch a whole lot of it, but conceptually I thought it was a great idea.
There's a decent amount of it on their YouTube channel now. YouTube, I don't think they have a dedicated YouTube name for it for MomoCon, but it's on their, you can get it off their website. I know that at least my 14 panels up there right now. I know they tried uploading another one, and that one went straight to copyright no-nos. Which I'm guessing was my sports one, because it's essentially a bunch of sport anime openings while I'm talking over them.
Yeah. Somebody's automated find the soundtrack program was going, nope.
You'll have to come to the actual panels in person for me to explain why the first ever sports anime is Speed Racer.
Oh god, it is, isn't it?
It kind of is.
Oh god. Oh, that's upsetting.
In a lot of ways. It depends. But yeah, racing's a sport.
I mean, I even got to say this at your daddy's NASCAR. They just really wish it was. No, it was a year before Star of the Giants.
Oh, man.
So, yeah.
There might be something obscure in black and white that predates it, but I'm just saying that as a maybe there is. I've seen no evidence to contradict you.
And maybe there is, but I could also point out that Speed Racer was also black and white for many Japanese folks as well.
Yeah.
It was actually one of the first shows to be made in color. It's why the colors are actually so vivid, so they'll show up well on black and white TVs.
And a generation of how anime was going to look forever was born.
Yeah, pretty much. But speaking of anime, let's get into our moments of awesome.
It's a moment of awesome.
So I'll kick it off with City Hunter.
That is a thing now that can be easily watched.
Yeah, because Discotech licensed all of it, and Discotech, all their money stuff comes from them actually releasing and selling DVDs and now honestly entirely Blu-ray discs, because they discovered that DVDs just aren't selling anymore. It's pretty much Blu-ray at this point, even if they do standard definition.
Yeah, I've gotten a few of their SD Blu-ray releases, and honestly, they're pretty great. At least as good looking as they possibly can be.
And so, but they got the actual Blu-ray upscales of City Hunter, and that's awesome. But they also have it streaming on Crunchyroll or Verve if you go that route, which is what I do. And so I've been watching a bunch of episodes of City Hunter, which is based off a manga written and illustrated by Tsukasa Hojo. It's about this guy named Ryo Saiba, who is a sweeper, who's sort of if you need a guy hire to do, something, you hire him. And he works in ye old modern day in the past or modern day now Tokyo, depending on if you watch the 80s series or the new movie. And Ryo, I forgot how much of a horn dog he is. Also, this might be the actual inspiration for the concept of hammer space, because his counterpart, his partner, is a girl named Kaori, and she straight up has hammers that literally just appear out of nothing and smash his face in whenever he does anything lewd, which is about every 5 minutes. And this is by and large a quote-unquote realistic series. It's not like there's magic or aliens or science fiction at all in this. And the hammers just happen. I also realize I'm pretty sure Ryo Saiba is the proto-Raven. He is the proto-Sanji.
I don't know how I feel about you describing things that way.
I almost guarantee you, Oda was growing up watching City Hunter and based Sanji at least partially off of Ryo Saiba. That is, it's, man, he is the lovable goof who's also an ace crack shot, but boy, is he horny on main. And the first few episodes, I had to honestly recalibrate my brain for the 1980s and anime in the 1980s to be able to continue watching the show. The introduction of Kaori does help a lot. A lot. But that's about... I'm watching a lot of City Hunter lately. So, Kevin, what you got?
Even though there's a decent chance we're gonna eventually podcast about it, She-Ra and the Princesses of Power wrapped up recently. They finally had that 5th and final season, and it was really great.
Does it end in lesbians?
That's a spoiler.
I feel like that's a spoiler. Also, not at all a difficult question to find out if you want to know. I'm pretty sure I've spoiled it on my Twitter feed.
Well, it's a little bit of a genuine question because, again, I cite back to several years ago when I was just desperately looking for a cartoon that depicted two homosexual characters just as normal people, and it was surprisingly hard to find. And somebody told me that the new Voltron had it.
They gave it a shot, but
but this was when only 3 seasons were released, and what they were telling me was that Lance and Kyle were a legit thing, and they lied. That is not true.
Lance and Keith?
Yeah, Lance and Keith.
I know people want that ship to be a thing, and I don't I never really saw it either.
Well, they told me that it was a thing, and that's why I watched it, and I was very disappointed when it turned out to not be a thing.
Yeah, I think a big difference with Voltron and She-Ra is the showrunner of She-Ra is a gay woman
Ah,
with
well,
a
excellent.
wife, and they're pretty normal people. I will say there's a lot of representation in She-Ra of like all kinds of different kinds of people,
Well, good.
and the ending gave me pretty much everything I wanted and stuff I didn't know I wanted.
Yeah, Voltron very much seemed like it was the people doing that very much were going for an American Shonen Jump take on Voltron and didn't quite realize the fan bases you get with that.
Yeah.
And so
I mostly take Voltron pretty well, warts and all, although I really feel like that last season was 2 or 3 seasons crammed together.
well, they really whiffed the landing for Voltron,
Yeah.
and they really landed the landing with She-Ra.
Yeah. I'm like, wow. I'm like, and there are definitely people who watch Utena on the staff of She-Ra. It shows a lot in the last season. But I highly recommend it. Characters who have been complained about in the past largely redeem themselves, and a good, fun, magical, action-y girl kind of show.
I did like the final season also gave her a new magical girl transformation sequence because she has a slightly new magical girl look to her in this one.
Yeah, I love the new outfit. Yeah, it was. There's just a lot of good stuff in the season, and it's like, and everything's a spoiler, so I'm basically just going, go watch it.
Well, I like to remind folks that we actually did cover the first season on the OSMcast. You can go back to our Index of Awesome to listen to it. And one day we probably should do a final end cap for She-Ra, and honestly an end cap for Steven Universe, where we thought we'd covered all of it, and then they released a movie and a whole new TV show.
I was like, oh yeah, that happened. I liked that. We should talk about that someday.
But for now, let's talk to Doug and find out what he's got in the world of awesome.
Okay, so I got two things. One, I've been rewatching Ranma One Half on Hulu, and that has aged awkwardly.
I feel like there is some stuff that, yeah, I've not revisited in a while.
Well, it's so weird because on the one hand, you're sitting there going, this was remarkably progressive when it came out. Like, when it came out, the whole idea of a boy who changes into a girl and back and forth between them and what his gender identity, is versus what his appearance is at any given moment, was really, really progressive back in its day. But then watching it now, you see a lot of stuff that's just uncomfortable and problematic.
Yeah.
The animation has aged about like 90s animation typically ages. In the instances where it's done really well, it aged super well, but its animation quality would vary from story arc to story arc, so the story arcs where it wasn't on point would, look kind of janky. But I think that's going to be true of any animation that has cycles like that. But yeah, so it's been interesting going back and looking at Ranma again after so long. A lot of a lot of the story arcs I remember very, very fondly, and I read them all in the manga. And as I'm showing this to Barry, I'll get all excited about like how how I know this story arc is going to resolve, but I didn't know how the pacing of it in the anime was, and it's just a chronic case of the manga did it better, like over and over again. But the other moment of awesome I wanted to talk to you about was Somali and the Forest Spirit, which is airing on Crunchyroll right now. That's been great. That's been a great anime, and I want to know why you guys haven't told me about it already, or am I actually telling you about it for the first time? Like, how did this miss our radar?
Well, you definitely like it. It sounds like I have not seen it. I am aware of its existence.
Basil, what's your explanation?
I'm watching City Hunter.
Okay. Okay.
My anime watching has been really irregular lately.
Then let me explain to you guys the basic premise of this anime. Okay, so Somali is a little human girl. And there is a forest spirit, and hijinks ensue. Okay, better explanation. It's in a fantasy setting world where humans and the fantasy creatures just recently, not recently, about 100 or so years ago, humans and the fantasy creatures all like met each other for the first time, and things did not go well, and humans are now almost extinct. And this forest spirit, who is in the context of this show, forests will periodically just create golems, like, to be protector spirits. And so this golem robot protector spirit of the forest just, like, kind of accidentally encounters a little girl. And the little girl latches onto him much like a baby chick following the first thing it sees. And so the forest spirit decides, well, this isn't going to do. And he is duty bound to protect all the little ant critters that he finds in his forest. So this is a little critter he found in his forest. So he decides the best course of action is to try and find some other humans to put her back in the care of other humans, and thus they set out on this journey to try to find more humans. And it's rife with a lot of character interaction and a lot of points about racial biases that went back and forth, because sort of the main problem that happened back when humans and the fantasy people encountered each other is the humans just kind of screamed, "Ah, monster!" right off the bat, and the fantasy creatures did not like that.
Generally, people don't.
And so the humans, would scream, "Ah, monsters!" and then they would promptly kill the fantasy creatures, like, without talking or trying to resolve their differences. And like I said, the fantasy creatures didn't like this so much, so they responded pretty much the way you expect people to respond when they're suddenly attacked by an outside force. They tried to eliminate the threat very quickly. And so now there's hurt feelings on both sides, and when I say hurt feelings, I mean something a little bit deeper than hurt feelings. Like, there's genuine hatreds on both sides. And it's just difficult to try to figure out how to resolve that. But it's got a cute harpy girl. It's got cute oni boys. It's pretty much got everything.
I think I had some misconceptions about what this show was. I think I thought it was a different show than the show you're describing.
No, it has a lot of very sweet father-daughter moments between Somali and this forest spirit, because this forest spirit has kind of adopted her, so it also has a lot of really touching things to say about the nature of family and the importance of being a father for a small child, regardless of biological connections.
Well,
Okay.
That actually sounds really interesting.
I think I remember hearing about this, and a lot of people were very worried, then very relieved it did not bunny drop.
Right. I also had that exact fear, too, as I was watching it. I was going, oh, this is so sweet and cute. Wait a minute. I remember another anime that was sweet and cute and did this. Oh, no. But no, this does not appear to be doing that.
Well, apparently it was only 6 volumes longer than manga, so the anime probably covers it pretty well. And then my other answer to your previous question of whether I had watched this or not is, have you yet to watch Stars Align?
No.
You should watch Stars Align.
I have a couple episodes from, I think actually literally a couple episodes were being done with that.
Basil, when are you going to come over and turn it on my TV for me?
I don't
You were
know.
supposed to do that today.
Well, I was going to make you watch Premiere is what I was going to do today.
Ah! You need to come over here and put things on my TV.
Yeah, but sometimes when we leave you to your own devices, you find shows that you tell us we should watch.
Yes, sometimes I do, but
I think I legit had this show confused with another show that came on in the same season, and that I was not interested in.
but
And
I
somehow I
also,
missed that they were separate shows.
because neither of you have been here to turn things onto my TV for me, I ended up watching an entire docu-series about Jeffrey Epstein, and that was terrible.
I'm sorry.
So don't give me none of this, but look what you bring us when we leave you to your own devices. No, there's a compromise to be made, and I'm not willing to make it.
Oh man, this pandemic needs to end so we can keep you from watching more documentaries that are obviously terrible.
Well, maybe we just need to summon a giant meteor and then have wreck the planet and take control of the live stream. Oh wait, no, that's Final Fantasy VII. Let's take a break and talk about the Final Fantasy VII Remake on the OSMcast. Remember back in 97?
Yeah, it was 1997.
Was Final Fantasy VII 1997? Yeah, that was a video game. It came out.
Yeah. That was... I got my PlayStation a little before it came out.
I had not gotten my PlayStation yet. The other guy that played Bassoon had pre-ordered it, and he had like the Final Fantasy VII t-shirt, and that was the first moment that I realized that other people played this Final Fantasy game that I was so obsessed with. Yeah, but like my family was like, I had to convince my parents to get a Super Nintendo, and they were not going to get a PlayStation until I found out that Final Fantasy VII had come out for the PlayStation, and it was intense.
Yeah, for me it was a case of I could not afford a PlayStation at the time. And then my best friend, Seth, at the time, started just casually drops. And you know when this happens, and I'm like, wait. I turned and went, what? What? And he's like, yeah, in the game. You're playing the game, right? And I went, no, Seth, I don't own a PlayStation. I can't afford it. My family is poor. And so he sold his spare PlayStation because he was living with his boyfriend at the time. His PlayStation and his copy of Final Fantasy VII so that I could play the game because he felt really bad.
Oh God, I think I vaguely remember that.
I've told the story a few times, so I'm pretty sure you've heard it a few times because this was pre-Anime Club.
Oh my gosh, Basil, you realize that means that we've been friends for so long, and I've heard this story so many times that I have now developed a flashbulb memory of it.
Nice. Nice. I'll take that. Like fine. Look, sometimes I get Somali and the Forest Spirits from you. Sometimes I get weird, bad, depressing documentaries. It's fine. I take the good and the bad.
But man, I have a flashbulb memory for one of your life events now. That's incredible.
So a lot of people have memories from Final Fantasy VII.
Oh man, so many memories.
Kind of a big deal at the time.
And apparently, clearly, still a big deal now.
Well, yeah, I mean, even the original one's gotten several re-releases on PC and more modern consoles.
So when I finally did get Final Fantasy VII, I played it a lot. A lot. Like, I don't think it really occurred to me how much I played this game until I was sitting here playing the remake of it, and I sat back and remembered that I was playing this game I was playing the original Final Fantasy VII constantly for like years on end. And that I would play Final Fantasy VII as a party trick. Like, when high school kids were throwing parties, like, the crazy thing I did at my high school parties was I played Final Fantasy VII for people.
There are worse things you could do for party tricks.
It was always my little sister's friends because, I was just playing Final Fantasy VII my whole life. I didn't have friends. But she had friends, and she had through these parties, and the guys that were her age would be like all excited, like, "Oh man, I heard that you were really good. I heard that you could beat Ruby Weapon." And I'd be like, "Yeah, let me show you." And I would ask them, "Do you want me to beat it hard mode, or do you want me to beat it easy mode?" And that meant something. It was difficult trying to remember what that meant.
Yeah, like, I'm pretty sure I've talked about this also before, but I do remember playing it multiple times and getting more annoyed with the weird inconsistencies with it every time I played it, with long phone calls with Kevin complaining about it and him being very nice and listening to me.
Yeah.
I remember when you and me were first becoming friends, you would complain to me about the inconsistencies in Final Fantasy VII, and I would then give you the answer. I would explain to you why that wasn't a problem. And you would always come back with, "Now, Doug, where exactly in the game did they say that?" And I say, "Well, they didn't actually say it, but you're left to infer it from this and this and this." And you pointed out that I had this giant headcanon that I had developed from playing it so much that I was using to justify it.
That's the same reason I never look up any real facts about the Xenosaga series.
Oh man, you're getting the new Xenoblade, or the new old Xenoblade's coming out soon too.
Yeah, I've got it bought and pre-downloaded already. I'm just waiting for Friday.
I'm getting the fancy edition from my place of work. But so what we're actually talking about is the Final Fantasy VII Remake. It just came out in April. It was going to be March. It was April. And it was created by, quote, Square Enix Creative Business Unit 1.
Oh, yeah.
Which is, I believe there are now 5 business units that are making things. But Business Unit 1, its job is to make the big, important Final Fantasy games.
And I think you said this back when we had just mentioned Final Fantasy VII Remake as part of a moment of awesome and I just want to repeat it now, it's so glad that these guys finally had a win.
Yeah. I think there actually might have been that or my tweet or something. But no, this is definitely I feel, and I'll get into why, this is the first just straight up good, quote-unquote, mainline Final Fantasy they've had in a while that wasn't a ground-up redesign of an MMO.
The Final Fantasy XIV team has done a lot of work kind of salvaging games that the rest of Square Enix has tanked. Like, it's not just Final Fantasy XIV that they did that for. Final Fantasy XIV is just the big one that we're really super aware of, but they've done it for several other titles that fell into kind of this production limbo where they kept getting passed around, and the focus was lost, and so they kind of shuffled it off to the 14 team, and so the 14 team then had to put it back together like moments before release. Like, that happened to several of their cell phone games.
And we'll also realize, like, one of their cell phone games, Mobius, actually will become more of a thing because with this remake. So, the producer for this game is a guy named Yoshinori Kitase, who was the director of Final Fantasy VI, Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy VII, 8, and 10. Of course, those were produced by Hironobu Sakaguchi. And this is important in that producers tend to be the actual more creative vision. Again, I've heard that especially in Japan, producers are like closer to what you think of a director of a movie, especially like a tour type things. That's why, and then directors are more charged of making sure everything gets done. So Kitase worked directly under Sakaguchi for a lot of these Final Fantasy games, and so he was very, very tied to the creation of Final Fantasy VII, and he wanted to make sure that this remake happened essentially while they're still kicking and still wanting to make video games. The directors, again, the guys, tasked with getting stuff done, although that, of course, directors, they still have input in how the game is made clearly.
Yeah.
But this actually had 3 directors on the project, which first is, the one that everyone loves to blame for everything, including me, Tetsuya Nomura.
Good old Zippers.
And Nomura. Yeah, good old Zippers, who was the character designer for Final Fantasy VII. There was also a person named Naoki Hamaguchi, who was a programmer for 13, and he also headed up the mobile game Final Fantasy Mobius, along with Motomura Toriyama, who also directed Final Fantasy 13, 13-2, and Lightning Returns Final Fantasy 13.
One of those is really good.
Well, and I think the trick is, I think one of the reasons why 7 Remake is so good is because, well, no offense to Toriyama, but 7 was already a good game to begin with.
True.
All they had to do was expound upon the ideas they had. And they could do that because they brought back the scenario writer, Kazushige Nojima, who worked on all the Final Fantasy VII things. Like, he worked on Final Fantasy VII. He wrote the scenarios for Advent Children and Crisis Core. He also wrote the scenarios for Final Fantasy VIII, 10, and 10-2. So, between Kitase Nomura and Nojima, they had, core people who were instrumental in making 7 happen, and they're the sort of core that are also making sure this remake happens.
Yeah, so you got the people most of the people who made the first one good in the first place already back.
And I think some of the biggest problems they had was, you look at the developmental hell that went through Final Fantasy 13, where I still remember the story that I believe it was Chris Kohler of Wired, now Kotaku, would always tell, where he was at, I think, a Japanese, Square Enix party after, Tokyo Game Show or something. And he's talking to this one graphical guy, and he's like, yeah, man, I'm really excited for my rock in Final Fantasy 13. He's like, wait, what? He's like, yeah, I'm in charge of this rock. They haven't given me anything else to do, so I've just been working on this rock. I'm really excited for my rock.
Yeah, I've heard that story somewhere else.
And then you also look at Final Fantasy 15, right, which was yet another salvage job.
Yeah.
Because
that game went through so many redesigns and revisions, and the final product's not bad.
I feel that the final product. Well, I have real issues with Final Fantasy 15, so I may not be the best person to make this appraisal. But I felt like Final Fantasy 15 really showed, it really showed that it went through a very severe development process, just in how it was executed. It was the introductory scenes were so wildly different from the bulk of the gameplay, which was so wildly different from when you sort of entered that point of no return.
Yeah.
From the ending,
and I even know the people making that game don't really feel like they gave us the game they wanted to. So
yeah, it was just very disjointed, and it felt like it was several different ideas cobbled together while still losing the overarching grand idea that was supposed to unite it.
It was, and you look at every promo video and even every demo, and it's almost a different game each time.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, you had issues, guys. I appreciate that you got anything out that was kind of playable, and I'm sad you didn't get to make the game you wanted, and a good chunk of your content. Like there was whole DLC that was completely cut because they didn't think there was enough interest in it, and I feel bad for them, but
it's well, and you can see that I think one of the things that made 7 Remake work was because they already knew what they were doing, and they weren't just trying to salvage previous work into something that was usable.
Yeah.
Because it happened both with 13, where they took so long trying to figure things out that they had all the art assets and worlds and corridors done, but, then they had to shoehorn a story that made sense with it, and shoot, Final Fantasy, 15 was, what was it? Final Fantasy Versus 13?
Yeah.
Which had an entirely different plot and idea, and they still had to take what they had made, throw it out, still somehow remake it again.
Yeah.
But still keep all the character designs and stuff that Tetsuya Nomura drew and everything. It was, whereas Final Fantasy, 7 Remake, they know it takes place in Midgard. They know who all the characters are. They know where all the story beats are going to be and where they're going to go. And all they had to do, all they had to do, was fill out, the areas and sort of reconfigure things here and there.
Like, we're going to do disc 1. We got to spread it out to a whole game, and it's going to be cool. And that's actually a pretty good skeleton to start with.
So this is actually a common criticism of Final Fantasy VII Remake, is that a lot of people just wanted Final Fantasy VII remade. They didn't want all of these extra bells and whistles that they added on. They didn't want all this in-depth, story supplementation going on that happened with the remake. They just wanted Final Fantasy VII with updated graphics.
There's some stuff that should probably go in the spoiler section that I could feel is worth arguing about in that regard, but for the rest of it, I'm like, why wouldn't you want expanded?
I know, I'm very much on the side of, I feel that the remake is wonderful and I am absolutely in love with it, and so yeah. I don't see any reason to complain, but
it made me care about Barret, and to be honest, I never did.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think the creators even said, look, if we're going to do this remake, we're going to do a remake. We're going to, we need a reason to do this too. And I think one of the things that they did, as I'm now going to transition us to the combat system, is that the creators of Final Fantasy for forever has always wanted to try their best to make more of an action-based, turn-based system. I mean, you see it, in Final Fantasy IV with the introduction of the ATB, or Actum Type Battle, where I believe they said they were trying to emulate the feel of F1 racing, but as an RPG.
Oh, that actually, Sakaguchi, you clever bastard, and you and your perfect racing game.
But
I see what he did there now.
Yeah, and even if you look at things like Final Fantasy 13, where with the paradigm system, they were trying to do both turn-based and action, and you also look at Final Fantasy 15, making use of trying to make more of a turn-based action, which is much more of an action game, but still with magic and turns and things. And I think, going back a little bit further and trying to reimagine 7 as an action game, I feel this is the game where they figured it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely never minded that it was a more actiony system. And I love me some menus and choices as a general rule, but I did not mind that it was very actiony.
So I'll admit, I struggled with it. I never struggled with Final Fantasy VII, the original. The materia system seemed pretty self-explanatory to me. I just jumped on it real quick and was able to figure it out instantly. but this time around I had a little bit of a harder time with it, and it was because of the combat and blocking.
Yeah. Now, I'll be honest, there came a point in the game where I'm like, I'm just bored to the story here. I switched the difficulty over to easy. Like, with no shame whatsoever.
I mean, I play the whole game on classic. I have absolutely 0 Fs about... I wanted to make sure that the game was fun to play. And look, I'm bad at action games sometimes. I still almost lost a few times, and I'm playing it on the lowest difficulty level they had.
I felt Classic played a little weird, and I did find myself wanting a little more direct control.
I played the thing through on normal. Barry did the thing that you did, Kevin, where he switched it back and forth, like, you know, back to easy and then back to hard. So I went into the first boss, and I was expecting to wipe the floor with this guy, just like I did in the original Final Fantasy, and instead the opposite happened.
Yeah, it turns out to be kind of a real boss fight. Like,
Yeah.
It's not a warm-up, it's like, you're gonna fight a boss now. It's gonna take a little bit.
It was hard. I had to actually come up with, like, a strategy. It was frustrating. But that happened to me several times as I was playing through it, that, you know, things that I remember being pushovers were not pushovers anymore, and a lot of it was because the combat system was just entirely different. I wasn't just, like, selecting through a menu, doing my strongest attack versus what I knew the monster was strong or weak against. I was also having to keep in mind what the monster was strong or weak against, while also learning his move patterns and also moving around. Something that I'm pretty sure that, like, a kid who games regularly isn't going to have even a slight problem with, but, you know, me being the old man that I am, I had problems keeping up.
But I kind of liked how they went back to, you know, the whole Final Fantasy X idea, where each character had used a different weapon, and different weapons were useful against different monsters.
Yeah, that was kind of cool.
And the game honestly kind of almost paces itself so that way you can whack on it for some with Cloud, and then, okay, cool, let me hop over to Tifa. Let me whack on it this way. Oh, wait, that's a completely different way of playing how to whack a thing with their own, you know, special abilities and stuff. Oh, wait, no, everything's in the air now. Okay, let me switch over to Barret. Cool. Boom, 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 shooty, shoot.
Yeah, I really liked how Tifa played.
And I was still surprised on, like, for example, how well the materia system actually works. And at first, I'll admit, I still don't like the idea of having to build up your ATB gauge to use an item.
Yeah,
that still felt
weird.
A little weird, but I had no qualms and filling up the ATB gauge to either use one of your special physical abilities or cast a magic spell that you had via Junction Materia. That felt correct. How they handled the limit break system felt good. And it honestly made times, because I was playing Final Fantasy VII on Switch while I was playing the remake. And I was just always astounded just how, while different, how clearly inspired and similar the gameplay still was. Also, I did love how they turn random mooks just in the game normally became these really cool bombastic bosses in the remake.
Some of those random monsters were just so stupid. I'm glad that they came back as something fantastic.
Look, I was not expecting how cool an electric eel made of swords could actually be.
I, for one, enjoyed fighting a whole evil house.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. Hell House. Look, when I was playing through 7, and I was just grinding on Hell Houses, and I remember going to Anna, I'm like, oh, man, let me know, because she was ahead of me in the game, if Hell House makes an appearance. I feel it has to. I can't wait to see what they do with Hell House in this game. An hour later, I get a stomping in Anna and going like, Hell House is hell. I hate Hell House. Why did you mention Hell House? How did you know this was going to be in the game? This is the worst. I'm going to kill this so hard. And I was like, what? And how did you know about Hell House? I'm like, well, I was just playing through the zone near Wall Market, and there I was constantly grinding on houses. And so you were just grinding up, like, what's Hell House in the game? I don't know. It's a house. You kind of beat it up and you get stuff. And man, Hell House in the remake is an experience. TM.
Yeah.
That's perilously close to my favorite boss fight, actually. Maybe I think just because I remember those same houses from the game, I'm like, that is the weirdest random enemy. I'm fighting like a shack or something. Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was super, super weird. And I also want to say they absolutely knocked it out of the park music-wise.
Oh, yes.
They did bring back
Yes.
Uematsu, who sadly, who probably didn't do as much as he really wanted to, because I know that he has been dealing with health issues. Like, in fact, they had to, Masayoshi Soken, the guy who does most of the music for Final Fantasy, at this point, all the music for Final Fantasy XIV, previous expansions, Uematsu would compose an overarching theme that Soken could riff on, but this time Uematsu, because he was with his health being problematic, and B, because of that, he could only focus on Final Fantasy VII Remake. Soken had to do his own thing for Shadowbringers, which is fine. That worked out amazingly. But they also got two folks in to help out Uematsu, who were Masashi Hamazazu and Mitsuto Suzuki, who worked on Final Fantasy 13, as well, and then also worked on Final Fantasies 13 to Lightning Returns, Final Fantasy 13.
Which honestly,
And
all have really good music.
Yeah.
Other problems of the games aside, they've got really good music.
no, I still listen to the 13 soundtrack on the regular. Like,
Yeah.
that was the one thing that, no matter what issues I had with 13, and I had some, still do, but the music is not one of them. I absolutely love the soundtracks, and this soundtrack for 7 Remake is completely boss. It slaps, it beats ass, whatever you kids want to call it, that says it's good, it is great.
Kids still say it's dope because that soundtrack was dope.
Like, sometimes they would go heavy on the strings, but they would do a lot of, there was a lot of variation I felt in the soundtrack, and I really enjoyed pretty much everything.
Yeah, I was always grooving with the soundtrack. The soundtrack was good. It pulled me in.
Like, I especially liked the battle music you have when it's Cloud and Aerith in the tunnels.
Mhm.
And the boss and the fighting music changes because you're in these tunnels. And it suddenly gets this like way more like it almost feels like it's like like it almost feels like dirty.
Yeah,
And
a
what
little more
the music
industrial,
musically.
or- not sure if that's the right word for the genre, but it feels, yeah.
And so this I love the music in this game. I may or may not may have went ahead and bought the 8-disc soundtrack
Oh god.
on Amazon Music. Well, it was $35 versus like the $78
Okay.
bucks you had to buy it as a CD set.
That's
And I don't use
legitimately not
CDs
bad.
anymore.
Yeah.
Although I'm sad because I didn't get the quote special edition of the CD soundtrack. I did not get the CD or the digital files for all the music that you can find and collect to play in jukeboxes throughout the game,
Oh yeah.
which have some really good remixes in them too.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So they also expanded a lot of things about the world. It's not, you're going through a lot of the same places, although there are some new places. And they pretty much took the ideas of, okay, here's the visual look. Let's recreate this with, in Unreal. And let's have our characters, run around in actual areas and zones and a bunch of little hub areas. And dang, they look cool.
Yeah. There were more than a few places where I really just had to stop and look around a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty nice. So, one of the things that they did very well is that so a lot of the layout of like Sector 7 slums is not the same as it was in the original game at all, largely because the original design was meant for a top-down overview map of a JPEG that just scrolled across the screen and you just ran through the JPEG. Whereas this is an actual living environment and you can really feel just like how lived in it feels. Like it's fantastic. It's not the exact same as the design, but when you're walking around it, you feel like you're actually in that setting. Does that make sense, or am I just babbling?
Yeah.
No, it makes sense. And part of it is they clearly looked real hard at those JPEGs.
Yeah.
And worked
tried
real
to
hard
imagine the world that was around those images that you were looking at.
And they also, they took, things like, for example, I didn't really notice it or really think about it at the time when I was playing 7, when I was, a kid, versus now where the weapon shops clearly look like pawn shops.
Yeah.
Yep.
Something that also really struck me was that you have daytime and nighttime in this game, whereas it felt like Midgard in the original game always felt pretty perpetually cast at night.
That was intentional in the original. It was perpetually cast at night because it had the plate over it. They never got to see the morning sun because it was always dark because there was a giant plate over them.
And this way they sort of redesigned things so that you could get sunlight. Although apparently as you discover playing the game, a lot of it is artificial sunlight via giganto lamps.
Yeah.
But, so, and some clear things, like there was an area in the original Sector 7 slums, which was a bunch of just, buildings, multiple levels, buildings stacked on top of each other. And while it's not the exact same design, they still had multiple areas that you would have to sort of climb up the stairs to get to. And, there are some locations that look straight out of the JPEGs. But yeah, no, I think they did a really good job of sort of recontextualizing things like, where Cloud originally just had a spot to crash for like the night. He now there's like an actual like mini sort of hotel apartment complex you go to.
Yeah, he's got like his own room.
Not that you spend much time there, but it acts like he's playing to hang around, and he needs a place to stay. So yeah, Tifa arranges him a little, apartment building.
And then there's other areas that you can run around in, and there's also sort of the more... So this game, I felt, did a pretty good job of balancing open areas that you could run around in, and then, the much more guided, go through the dungeon things. Where most of the actual combat areas would happen.
Yeah. It was there is a fair bit of combat, but I do like the moments where you do get to just like stroll around the various city sections. And
so the best way I can think to describe it is that it is the Final Fantasy VII that lives on in your heart. Like, it's the Final Fantasy VII that's in your heart, not necessarily the Final Fantasy VII that was actually there.
Yeah.
I feel that that's actually the best way to remake things, is to make them,
like you think you remember them versus how you actually do.
Right. Like the original Final Fantasy VII has some awkward translation choices and sometimes misleading translation choices.
But to bring it back to the Final Fantasy VII that lives in your heart, we probably should talk about what mostly lives and will always probably live in everyone's heart, which are all the really, really good characters.
Oh.
There's some of those in this game.
There's some of them. I feel that they really did strike the I'm too cool for school Cloud, but who's actually, in reality, the most gigantic dork ever.
Yeah.
I need to give a shout out and mad props to his voice actor, Cody Christian, for Cloud Strife. Like, that guy managed to completely embody what I always felt Cloud sounded like.
Yeah. I actually have to
Only
say
in an English voice.
It's a little unusual for me. I actually did play through the whole game in English. Even though the Japanese version has several voice actors I really like in it.
I went full weeb, and I totally had the voice of Takahiro Sakurai as my Cloud Strife.
Brianna White, who did Eris Gainsborough, was amazing and perfect.
Yeah.
But Maya Sakamoto!
I know.
Maya Sakamoto!
She is amazing. I love Maya Sakamoto. Like,
well,
she is...
you're missing out on Brianna White's performance,
but
because
yes,
she performed.
Well, that's actually going to be a spoiler. I've saved that for spoilers, but she did really good.
She performed Aerith exactly like I always in my head felt she sounded like. So, and Tifa, Britt Baron also did an amazing job with Tifa. So this series, like, I think, did we talk about the best girl issue?
Well, that's an interesting
when we mentioned
issue.
This? What's that?
I think we all agreed it was rude.
No. So I am of the camp that Eris is best girl, but I will concede that in any other situation, Tifa would have been best girl. Like, with any other gathering of characters, Tifa should have been best girl. But
except that Jessie is frankly just as much into contention this time. If
Jessie came out of nowhere. Jessie was a bit character before, and this time she's a contender for best girl.
Yeah.
Like,
now she's a real person. It's weird.
Like, what even happened?
She's there to be loudly horny about Cloud, and she doesn't care who knows.
Not as horny as Sephiroth is for Cloud.
Is anyone ever as horny for Cloud as Sephiroth? Let's be honest.
Like, oh my god, when we finally get to Sephiroth, and Sephiroth just wants to suck Cloud's dick so badly.
I'm not going to argue that point at all.
Like, it was creepy. Like, I'm not saying this is like I felt the attraction. Like, I was creeped out by the attraction. It was too much.
It's like, whoa, dude, this is awfully intense. I mean, we have history, but not that kind of history.
Well, in the original game, it was Cloud who clearly had some kind of boner for Sephiroth.
Yeah, he was a massive fanboy.
Yeah, the joke that my little sister and I had, because in the original Final Fantasy VII, like, the scenes would happen, and then Cloud would just go, ... and then it would flip to the next, text bubble of dialogue, and Cloud would go, Sephiroth. And so, and then Sephiroth would magically appear. And so what me and my little sister always said is that we thought Cloud could smell Sephiroth. That Sephiroth would have this just tremendous odor. He must stink really bad. And Cloud, like, knows that stink. He's like, Sephiroth.
It's all that Genova and all that Mako.
But this time around, like, Cloud would just be walking, and then all of a sudden Sephiroth's there, and all of a sudden Sephiroth wants to suck Cloud's dick, and it's the weirdest fucking thing ever. It's super alarming. It's not okay.
Like, you don't know the weird, mysterious connection we share, but we share a weird, mysterious connection, and you should come away with me, and we should do things.
Like, play, like pinball. That'd be fun. Wouldn't that be fun, Cloud, playing pinball with your good buddy Sephiroth? It'd be a touching reunion.
Well, I also want to talk about how well the game has adapted due to advancements in the field of psychology. In the first game, Cloud clearly suffered from some kind of psychosis. We didn't really understand what his deal was. In this game, it's very apparent that he has some sort of PTSD, and I really liked how they defined that better and they addressed that better in a more appropriate tone.
And still use the very similar visual cues of a TV being with the static and stuff coming into play and sort of rewriting things as you're playing it.
Yeah.
I do have a weird soft spot for protagonists with weird PTSD issues.
So, okay, we've gone on for a bit, so we probably should transition on to spoilers.
Yeah.
So
I think I already did.
Well, you covered more of the spoilers for Final Fantasy VII, not so much the remake.
Well, so Sephiroth is there and he wants to suck your dick.
I mean, you find that out in like hour 2.
That's really the biggest spoiler I can think to give anybody. Is that?
Well, are we firmly in
Sephiroth shows
spoilers
up.
here?
Now let's take a break so Anna can play some boss music.
Okay. I got something I gotta get off my chest right away in spoilers.
Okay.
Right away.
Okay. It's usually me that has to do that, but
Yeah,
you do that this
I gotta
time.
say, they let Aerith say shit.
They did, didn't they? I didn't even realize that.
It's like, oh my god. Like, okay, not really a spoiler, but I feel like they remembered what these characters' personalities actually were.
Well, yeah. Again, I think it's a case of they've been like the trio of Nojima and Kitase and Nomura. That they've been thinking about doing this remake for years. I believe they said they were first thinking about this during the 20th or 25th anniversary of Final Fantasy, and that was like in 2012. So they've been thinking about it for a while. I think after them like falling on their face with 13 and then trying to recoup all that by using 13.2 and Lightning Returns, and then they're like, okay, it's fine, well, let's do 15. Wait, crap, we don't have 15. We spent all our money making 14 again. Okay, versus 13, you're gonna be 15 now. Normura, you've got to work on Kingdom Hearts. You get Kingdom Hearts out of the way. Meanwhile, Kitase is like, no, we need to remake 7. We got to do it at this point. If we don't, it's going to be too late.
But there's so much material outside of the original Final Fantasy VII where, like, even Kingdom Hearts, like, Cloud will be there, and he will be super grumpy, depressed guy. And Aerith will be incorruptible, pureness girl. And it's like, Aerith is actually kind of snarky.
Well, that was part of her pureness.
That she wasn't.
Yeah.
Yes! That she was just a little bit snarky, like an actually pure princess would be.
Like in reality,
she actually teases Cloud a good bit, and
well, the trick is they portray, Tifa as this awesome punchy girl who also can rock a sick cowboy hat.
Yeah.
Whereas Aerith's this, goody good healer, flower girl, but in reality, like, Aerith has like all the sass in the world, and it's actually Tifa's the mom we all need in our lives.
Yeah. I loved every single second you had Aerith and Tifa in the same place together, and they
Yes.
could interact.
The moment where they became immediately best friends.
Yeah.
Like, I loved Tifa's, who the fuck is this bitch look on her face.
Yeah. I mean, there's the thing where it's like, Cloud gets to talk with Tifa for a second as she's going off to Don Corneo's mansion, and she's like, you know me, I can kick ass. I'm fine. And he's like, yeah, you are. You're probably fine. And then Aerith is like, I haven't talked to this girl. I've only seen her for 3 seconds, but we have to go save her. She needs us.
And maybe that's true. Maybe in her soul, she actually knows that according to the plot of this video game world they live in, they have to go save her. Because somewhere Aerith knows that's what's supposed to happen, because it turns out the actual boss of Final Fantasy VII Remake is the continuity of Final Fantasy VII.
Yes.
Yeah, it's kind of, it is the rebuild of Ava of Final Fantasy VII.
Like they very intentionally use the words remake in that, yes, this is a remake, but also this is a remake.
Yeah, this is the real spoilers, not jokes. This is like, it actually is a mysterious and tangible force is trying to make the story follow the original plot of Final Fantasy VII. And things keep trying to change it also.
Which makes me wonder if this is actually, literally, the future of Final Fantasy VII, where Final Fantasy VII, you can always say, look, if you didn't like the remake, it's fine, the original still existed. I kind of wonder, the original might have actually still existed.
The original might have still actually happened.
Like, I have a feeling, like, I don't know, I have a feeling that the Sephiroth we've been seeing in Remake is the Sephiroth from the original 7, who is actively trying to change things in his favor. Or he somehow has the memories of the original Sephiroth.
Well, that's why he's so hung up on Cloud, because Cloud actually defeated him when that's not supposed to be possible.
Yeah.
You know, that's why in the original game, Sephiroth barely even noticed Cloud, but in this game, he's all hot to trot about him. It is because he knows that Cloud is the version of his various clones that actually shows some fruition and promise, and he needs to pay attention to him.
And even kind of tries to seduce him over to his side, or at least point him in the direction of choices that are most advantageous to whatever he's planning.
And even after playing through the whole thing, I'm still not certain if Aerith knows or not. Like, it's very obvious that Tifa and Cloud and Barret don't know about the events of the previous game. They just know that they're being pushed towards a specific direction.
I feel like Aerith kind of knows, like her whole connection to the planet thing. Certain feelings of it are bleeding into her brain, but she doesn't quite know how to organize it, or she'd probably be way more worried.
Well, initially I felt like she straight up knew. Like, she knew all the events of the old game, including the fact that she dies, and is bravely carrying on anyway. But then again, as we got closer and closer to the end of it, when we actually fought, like, the final Whisper guy thing, and we broke the chain of destiny, so that we're no longer stuck doing things the way the old game did them.
Which I feel is a great metaphor to the players from the game makers.
Yes!
Yeah.
The final boss is you, Internet!
Deal with that concept. We know you what we're going to let what we did. We're doing it anyways, so whatevs.
So, oh gosh, what was I saying? So after you defeat that is when I started to get the feeling like maybe Aerith didn't know exactly what was going on. She just kind of had a vague feeling, like Kevin said. But
yeah, that's what struck me, is like she seems like she has an idea that I think I might have to bite it. It feels like that's correct. And I know that people have actually shown like retranslations of things that she said in the original game. Like in the original game, she also did not like the idea of going out into the world. She was very comforted being under the steel sky. She felt very protected under it, which would also make sense since she's lived her life actually under the protection of the Turks until she wasn't.
Yeah. I'm not sure if I just headcanoned that she was actually kind of pals with the Turks to a certain extent.
I think a lot of people headcanoned that. I don't know if it was in the game or not, but it was heavily applied that at least with some of the younger Turks that she had like, you know, she definitely had a long-term relationship with the Turks, and so I think a lot of people headcanoned that she was secretly friends with some of them.
Yeah, I definitely feel that's one of those things that seems like that's more, more enforced in this game.
Yeah,
for sure, because she was partially like, it's the Turks. Well, it's just the Turks.
Yeah.
So, in the making of this game, I think it's very important to stress not only was this game made by a bunch of the same people who made this game, it was also made by some of the same people who grew up playing this game much like we did, who have a deep affection for this game. And so they put like a lot of heart and effort into it so that a lot of like little niche things like that are right.
Yeah, and it's and also technically not really a spoilers, but man, the detail on the fabric of the characters' costumes is amazing. That's just something that, like, you could tell what kind of fabrics their clothes are made out of.
God, the graphical fidelity of this game is so insane that whenever you're above in the upper areas and you're looking down from the upper areas of Midgard to the lower areas, for some reason they decide this is the part we're going to put a giant ass JPEG in the background, and boy does that stand out. Especially when you're doing the gigantic climb up to the Shinra building. And sometimes they'll have big cutscenes where they'll have the characters look at the JPEG. And I'm like, this is even kind of pixeled out. Like, this doesn't even feel like it's a well-made JPEG. It looks like you kind of didn't finish it. This is, compared to, like, looking at the perfect bodies that are Barret, Cloud, and Tifa, this doesn't work.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, the stairs scene! Oh, the stairs scene! It was everything I remembered and more!
Yes, I too foolishly climbed up all the stairs.
Okay, so I also did the stairs, yeah.
No, the stairs is the way to go. Like, Barry did, like, the elevator, and I immediately scoffed at him. Like, what idiot takes the elevator?
Well, I love that they got more out of breath and slower going up the stairs.
Yeah. Our editor, my wife Anna, she took the elevator, and there's even a joke they talk about that is referenced later on in the game. Either way, but you don't really get the joke unless you go in the elevator. But I really enjoyed the things that happened from the stairs. I was sad I did not get an elixir out of it, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't actually give you a reward. Like, there's not really a reward.
Your reward was the friends you made along the way.
The reward is taking the stairs.
So, speaking of the friends we made along the way, their constant freaking Wedge, where you think Wedge bit it. No, he's fine. No, wait, he bites it. No, okay, he's back. Okay. Oh, thank God. Wait, no, why are you here now? Oh God, you're gonna, damn it, Wedge. And then you beat the game, and there's Biggs. There's Biggs. Also, Jesse's things on the counter. Does that mean Jesse's alive too? Are they good? They better be good.
I don't think Jesse made it.
I am fully now committed to this sequel.
Yeah.
Because I gotta know if we get Jessie back. I mean, sure, she lives on in Final Fantasy XIV, but frankly, the 14 Jessie's a completely different character from the 7 Jessie.
Yes, very different. Okay, any other spoilers that we want to gush over?
I feel like we're doing the service if we don't talk about the whole Honeybee Inn sequence.
Oh my gosh, best line in the whole game. The best line in the whole game is when Tifa looks at Cloud and she goes, Cloud, that hair, that dress, those nails. And Cloud just goes, yeah, I know, killing it, move on.
I love the whole sequence. I love the dancing minigame. I love Eris squealing her little Fujoshi fangirl heart out at dancing Cloud and other guy.
Yeah, Eris was such a great audience stand-in for that scene.
I'm like,
and was that Troy Baker?
No, I don't think that it was.
Oh, it sounded like Troy Baker, but that I think there's 3 different people that means that it could have actually been.
boy, just about everybody who voice acts got at least a bit part in that game somewhere.
Well, a lot of them asked for it. A lot of them really wanted it because it's Final Fantasy VII. Why wouldn't you want it if you were in the industry of doing this?
I saw tons of voice actors going, yeah, that random kid, that's me. Oh, background peasant 3, totally me. It's like...
The character we're talking about is Andrea Rodea.
Yeah, Andrea Rodea.
Who was portrayed in English by Trevor Duvall, or in Japanese, Tomokazu Sugita.
Well, Trevor Duvall, I think, is going to have
voice.
A bright future ahead of him if he is not already a very established.
Because that was great. I love, and it felt so very. The whole "let's get Cloud in a dress" sequence felt so very positive. Everyone is so encouraging, and yes, everyone should be fabulous. It was so much fun to play through.
Now they did take out. Okay, so they took out something that I really liked about the original Final Fantasy VII and changed it up. It doesn't seem like you're a... So in Final Fantasy VII, there was a low-key, dating sim element in the background of the game.
Yeah, they're
This has it, actually.
It does?
The scene at night at Aerith's house when you go outside to have a, quote, important conversation.
Yeah.
Who you get to talk to depends on unseen factors.
Oh.
I think once again, I believe it's Tifa, Aerith, or Barret. I'd also point out that in 7, it was also the gold saucer they had it originally.
Well, no. The first time you saw it crop up in the original game was actually in the Walmart section. In order to get Don Corneo to pick Cloud in the original, you had to get the best of everything. And on your first playthrough, you probably weren't going to get that. So after that, which girl he picked depended on who you had shown more affection to, Tifa or Eris, up to that point.
Oh,
and then
that's how that worked.
Yeah, and then you had to go rescue them. Whereas I think he just picks Cloud all the time in this version.
I think so. Admittedly, I only played through the sequence once, but I think you're pretty much, he's gonna pick Cloud.
He's no matter how well you have all the girls dressed, no matter what, he's gonna pick Cloud. It's scripted this time. But let's be honest with ourselves here. Everybody always knew him picking Cloud was the real version.
Yeah. And you also get the awesome scene of Aerith and Tifa bonding and then beating the shit out of people.
Look, Aerith has a bright, promising career in, wrestling in Japan. Because screw the WWE.
I certainly hope so.
New Japan Wrestling really needs to pick her up. All right, let's take another break and let's come back with some questions.
Life can be hard, it can be bitter, but we can make it oh so sweet. Here at the honeybee, and every moment is a treat.
At their most into each other, Era and Tifa are still in the cloud. I really don't know if I dare hope there might be a saving of Aerith in future games.
I don't know. I don't know if I want it or not. Like, I don't know if I want her to die.
Exactly. Like, I kind of want the option to spin this off into a radically different direction, but I don't know if we should.
I also want Cloud and Aerith to end up together. I don't know why. I mean, Cloud Sephiroth or Cloud Sephiroth / some mix of Zack is clearly the OTP.
Well, you know, I'm over here like hoping for Aerith and Tifa to get together. It's like, let them date. They obviously want to. They're planning it already. I still remember from the early trailer, there's a screenshot of a very grumpy-looking Cloud in between Aerith and Tifa, and I'm like, oh, it's nice when the girlfriends take their beard out with them. Although I alternately spend the time thinking of like, well, how would they work as like a polycule of some kind?
I don't think they would work as a polycule. Like, I think Sephiroth, Zack, and Cloud might work as like a poly unit, but I don't see Aerith, Tifa, and Cloud working as a poly unit. Largely because I feel Cloud is too wishy-washy to be the center.
Yeah.
To be the center of it.
Well, see, you know, in my imagining, Cloud is Aerith's boyfriend and Tifa is Aerith's girlfriend. Aerith is actually the center of it.
Yeah, that works much better in my head too. But you see, Aerith, you're forgetting that Aerith already has a boyfriend in Zack. She's already part of like a canon like love triangle.
Yeah. Oh crap. Zack might still be alive.
Yeah, he might still be alive in this version. They left it nebulous.
Yeah. That could get weird.
We have questions from internet listeners like you. By the way, listeners, if you could hop on to whatever, platform you listen to podcasts with and throw us a good review, it'd be really useful. So, to our listeners, we start with Jennifer at Crystal_Shiva. How far off is the remake from the original story? We also had a follow-up from Charlie. Yeah, do the good guys still win? That's a great question, Charlie.
Those are both difficult questions to answer.
As we've covered a pretty decent bit, it has a lot keeping it on track with the original story by force, and that is the new included element more so than anything else. So I'd say it sticks with the original story pretty well, but at the very end, it throws a slight left curve.
And of course, being what will be a multi-part series, it's a little hard to say the good guys still win. Although I feel like our heroes in the game are feeling kind of positive about where they're going. And if you played the original game as the audience, you may feel very apprehensive about where they're going.
Yeah.
And they have also mentioned that, by and large, most of the same plot beats will still happen in the remake series. Like, they're not completely now swerving into left field here. Like, there might still be detours, but a lot of the same things will probably still end up happening. All right. Next question. Is it harder than the original?
Fuck yes.
Circumstantially, yes.
It's, I mean, it is a different battle system. So
I can see someone who's more used to action games. Well, I think Doug made this point, but I can see someone used to action games having a relatively easy time with it. And if they're not familiar with RPGs, they might have actually had a harder time with the original.
Yeah, I breezed through the original like, for me, making the game hard was a matter of, like, taking different, like, I'm going to do this without using any items, or I'm not going to equip any materia this time around, or coming up with weird challenges like that just for myself. But this time around, like, even playing the game as intended, just on normal mode, which is supposed to be normal, like, the average difficulty that they wanted the game to be, it was much, much harder. But I'd say that's to a rewarding, that's to a rewarding extent. Like, it's good that it's harder, but it is harder.
Yeah. Also, with the option to like put it on easy mode or classic mode, if you want to get through the game and see the story, one of those will work out for you.
Honestly, I do recommend classic mode if you want to play it on easy, because you can still play the game on easy with classic. What I would usually do, especially for boss fights and sometimes some of the regular enemies too, classic will just auto dodge and auto block for you while the ATB gauge fills up. And so sometimes I would let that run just to see what the AI thinks I should be doing, to give me an idea of what I, in fact, will be doing.
So one thing that I did with the original game is I had 2 memory cards, like 2 entire memory cards that were just dedicated to saving in Final Fantasy VII, so that I could go back and do the certain things a certain way, that I could go back and try to do this a certain way. The remake has that built into the game already. Once you beat the game, it allows you to go back and do chapter selection and play through with different difficulty settings, however you want it.
Particularly if you're trying to collect trophies, it's definitely worth it, because you gotta like gotta get Cloud and both the girls in 3 different outfits to get all the trophies.
So, our next question is from Nico at Nico Scream. Where can I get Twitter pots?
I do not understand the question.
I misspelled post and said pots in one of my Twitter posts.
Oh, okay.
So the answer is clearly the item store.
Yeah.
Or one of the many vending machines they have in this game, which also have the little benches beside them, which you use to rest, and also feature the save icon from the original game. And also when you do save, the save icon sort of twirls as you save, and you can see it saving.
Yeah. I was amused how many vending machines had your little, sundry potions and whatnot, but also had CDs to sell.
Yes. Because this is the fantasy game where people still want CDs.
Yeah.
Anyways, from Charlie at _sommelier, do you have to play 7 in order to understand 8? Yes.
Definitely. 100%.
You will never understand Sylphie unless you understand Yuffie.
That's fair. Of course, I don't know. I'm an 8 apologist, so I love 8, but
8's fine. 8's good. I think I like 8 more now than I did then.
Yeah.
But I also understand 8 was much more of a systems game than 7.
Yeah.
And the more you understand the systems, the better time you'll have with it.
And 8 had a good re-release in a form of, it's the exact same game, but all the art is way better now. You can see faces.
Well, 8's biggest problem was that it came after 7, and
Yeah.
And I mean, just what can you do? Like, I still can't even properly appraise 8 correctly because it came after 7, and so
I definitely agree on that on a lot of levels. It's weird. I remember playing 8 and just various times Squall would be thinking the snarky comment I was thinking, and I'm like, yeah. Of course, I was also an angsty,
Look, we covered this during the Beastars episode.
Yeah.
Next question. Is that lady a wrestler? Yes.
Yep.
She will be soon enough.
Yep. Answer is yep.
Next question. Why does sexy lady Sephiroth make me feel uncomfortable? Because she's constantly breathing down your neck. You're just trying to get yourself a potion from the vending machine, and he's like, it's gonna be a good reunion. God damn it, sexy lady Sephiroth. Leave me alone.
It's because you're a bad boy, Charlie. You're a bad boy.
Right, now that's what Scarlet's there for. She was literally using a guy as a footrest.
Yeah. Okay.
I love
Next
Scarlet.
question.
Just sorry, but I'm like,
Where did the bottom half of Tifa's shirt go? You see the full shirt. She just has a midriff. I mean, that's just how the shirt goes.
now she has thigh highs. She's arguably more covered.
Yep.
Look, she's got that absolute territory going on, Kevin.
Yeah, and shorts under that skirt, which is great. I have no complaints about the redesign.
Oh my gosh, like that was in the original game. That was something that me and my little sister would sit there and we would just debate for hours on end whether or not she was wearing a skirt or shorts. And I don't even remember who had which side. Like,
I'll say back in the PlayStation 7 days and the little tiny pixel graphics, yeah, it's a little hard to tell.
Yeah, that polygon construction, like you can't tell. Like it's not a skirt. It's definitely either a skirt or shorts, but it's somewhere nebulous in between where we're still not sure.
Of course, in the official art, it's pretty obvious it's a skirt, but I get looking just at the character models and going, what is that?
Yeah, no, at the character model, it distinctly looked like like shorts. The way she moved her legs, it behaved like shorts. It was shorts, regardless of what the art in the guidebooks. And you know how games used to come with that little paper book,
right?
Like,
yeah.
Regardless of what was in that little paper book, what was on the screen was that clearly it was a short. But it was a skirt, and
now in the remake they combined the two.
yeah, it's both. In the remake is the answer. It's a skirt because skirts are cute, and then shorts under it because she is doing all those high kicks.
She does an awful lot of high kicks to a lot of things faces in her life, so yeah, sensible.
Yeah.
So all those high kicks are where the bottom half of Tifa's shirt went.
Exactly.
Next question is, who is best boy? Follow up from Tobias, and why is it Barret?
Boy, Barret's a pretty good boy in this game. Like I said earlier, I never really paid much attention to Barret, rarely used him. I am super invested in Barret in the remake.
Yeah, as I am an adult now, Barret, like, I don't know if it's just the remake or if it's the effect of being an adult that makes Barret a lot more. I still don't like how he talks like Mr. T.
I kind of like how he is an unapologetic eco-terrorist and sometimes starts talking like a Baptist minister.
Yeah. That was pretty cool. Those are all reasons why Barret is the best boy. But I think we all secretly know that
the mayor of Midgard. The mayor of Midgard is the best boy. And
Mayor
they just
Domino.
won't let him be cool, so he has to stay in his room with all his cameras and TVs or whatever, and just stay in there.
Mayor
what about the
Domino,
mutant
because
lab
the
rat?
city looks like a pizza.
What about the mutant lab rat? Or no, what did he call himself? Mutant rat dog.
Oh, Red 13.
Yes, we're talking about Red 13, Kevin.
Red 13 is a very good boy.
Like, I really liked how they did Red 13. Like, I felt he looked very good in motion. I really liked how they did him. I really liked how he played.
Yeah.
That you didn't actually get to control him. He just kind of like,
you.
once he joins your party, he just kind of like runs around and helps you. I liked that. I wish all the other characters behaved like that.
Yeah, it's the exact opposite of the question, but I feel like if we go through this podcast and never bring him up, I'll feel bad. Hojo is the exact opposite of Best Boy. He is somehow worse than the original game.
No, I feel he's exactly as terrible as in the original game, and still obviously worst boy. But continuing to talk about best boys, I also want to give Wedge. I really liked Wedge's cheeks and his mouth.
Oh yeah, and
Like
he had
something,
cats.
something about it was just so adorable, and I loved it.
Yeah, man, this game had so many cats.
Yeah,
It did. It had so many cats for some reason.
because Wedge collects them. Maybe just attracts them by his existence.
All right, so from John at Roku13, Mr. Wright asked, who is your favorite new or newly expanded character? With a follow-up from Charlie, yeah, is the Squall origin story cool? Oh man, Charlie, it's the coolest. You should totally play this video game, Final Fantasy VII Remake.
You know, otherwise you'll never find out how Wedge secretly is Squall.
I feel that Jessie is without a doubt the best expanded character.
Well, she definitely gets the most, stuff to do. There's a whole period where we actually have to go see a little bit of her backstory.
Yeah, regardless of if she's my favorite or not, I feel that she is the best one, and debating that is now going to just come down to a matter of preference of who is my personal favorite. And I don't have an answer for that because, like I just said in the best voice section, I really liked Wedge. I think I actually like Johnny less in this version than in the original.
Weirdly having more interaction with him somehow.
Weirdly having more interaction made me less attracted to the Johnny side character.
Well, the problem with Johnny is that they also introduced yet another Pompadour character named Roach, who was the best Zoggy we've had since Tales of Vesperia.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He was a pretty good Zoggy.
Yeah, he was a fun, if brief, character.
I did like seeing the slightly expandedness of the various corporate bigwigs. I did enjoy seeing... my favorite part of Final Fantasy VII has always been, even when I wasn't the biggest fan of 7, I still absolutely love the Turks. And getting to see, like, Reno and Rude and Sang, and that was all great.
I enjoy seeing. Yeah, for some reason I always kind of smiled a bit whenever the Turks showed up.
Okay, so, next question.
Also, my favorite, and I'm not sure if the question's going to come up with this, I'm going to say this now, but I really, really enjoyed the character that was the Shinra building.
Yes.
I really, really liked the Shinra building. I liked how they really introduced the first couple floors of the building as this sort of like place that they showed off all the various automotives they made, which gave it more an excuse to be able to have the the motorcycle section at the very end. I really liked the sort of Mission Impossible spy thing I felt like I was doing with Tifa for a little
segment. Which was not
there.
in the original game at all. Like,
yeah, no.
Like, Tifa just shows up with that stuff.
I like the little VR dome. Oh god, how have we gone through this whole podcast and not talked about Chadley?
Oh my god, how did I do that? I love Chadley. Okay, I changed my answer from the who's the favorite new character from my ambiguous I guess Wedge to Chadley. Chadley is hands down the best new character. Oh my gosh, how did I forget about him?
His character design is so what? Like, I feel he's the like Nomura was like, "Hey guys, here," and everyone's like, "Zippers, what the hell?" And he's like, "Yeah," and his name
I gotta
is
get out
Chadley.
of my system. At some point in this game, I gotta get it out of my system.
I have to say, I just played Nier Automata, so I saw Chadley's entire thing coming.
And we say thing, there's nothing. He's literally just some smart kid. Like, he's not some elder beast from the world below. He's not some new manifestation of previous memories congealed in Mako human form. He's just some kid.
No, he's not just some kid.
He's an intern.
Yeah!
Oh, I'm sorry. That's right.
He's a Shinra science intern who's just like, I'm totally spied on him for you. You know.
Oh, here, I made Bahamut.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, what are you talking about? Chadley's not just some kid. He's totally a thing, but the thing is amazing and wonderful in how absolutely perfectly this fits into the world without changing anything.
Goddamn Chadley. Alright, next question is, how do you think Square Enix will handle level progression in the next episode? You'll be able to maintain your progress and decisions from this one? I kind of don't see how. You can get up to level 50 in this game. And even in 7, proper, usually, unless you really grind it out, you usually only get to level 65 or so.
I think that they will probably start the next game. They'll probably start the next game at a by raising the level cap. I don't know what they'll raise it up to, but I expect that they will raise the level cap up, and which is to say that I do think that they'll let you import your save data from this version into the next make, which isn't that difficult to do. And they have done it before. MMOs have been doing it, for decades now. So I don't think that they'll have a problem letting you keep your levels into the next game. And, again, decades and decades ago, we saw with the Fable games that they would have your decisions from the previous game carry over into the next game. So, yeah, I think that they absolutely will keep all of that.
I don't think there's really all that many variables in that would have to be accounted for.
Yeah, and the creators of even Itase and Nomura, and they've said that they're not even quite sure how much they're going to include in the various expansions. They're still debating on how they want to do it. Do they want to make smaller, cheaper chunks that are more frequent versus, taking longer and releasing bigger chunks? Because Midgard, that whole section was very plot-wise linear. It was very point A to point B. The remake actually opened it up somewhat. So when they finally get to where they are now they're on the world map. Now they can go anywhere, theoretically, even though there is, some gating going on the world map. They've got to figure out how in the world do they even, represent the world map. That's it. These are questions they've got to, answer. I'm sure they're working on it. So they could just carry stuff over, because who knows, what we may get is not another 30-hour chunk. It might only be a 10-hour chunk and cost $40.
Okay, next question.
What do you think about the idea of the floating hooded spirits are there to keep the plot progressing like the original game in a meta way, and is this all an in-universe cycle where the PlayStation 1 game occurred before?
I think it's great. I think it's fantastic. I think just rewind and listen to us gushing about it earlier.
Yeah, I guess we talked about that earlier.
Yeah, I really did enjoy killing the Voldemorts.
Yeah.
Sure, they might be called something else in Harry Potter, but they're all Voldemorts.
I don't know. I was like, why are we fighting the first Kingdom Hearts boss?
Yeah, I thought that the Whispers, one, I did not like how visually similar they look to those things from Harry Potter and the things from Kingdom Hearts. I felt their look is overdone. But what they actually are and what they actually represent, I thought was a super cool idea. I super love that.
I probably should point out that things in Harry Potter are actually called Dementors.
Dementors.
Yeah, I think Harry Potter, yeah.
Alright, so, from Austin at Bebop Shock. That is, Bebop like as in Cowboy Bebop, and Shock as in you are shock! From Fist of North Star. Have any of y'all rewatched Advent Children lately? Thoughts on it? I sure haven't.
I actually have.
Well, let me interject my I have not, and I am specifically rejecting all the other Final Fantasy VII associated properties outside of the main game and then this. That may come back to bite me as we continue on with new new progressions in the remake. But for now, that is my attitude to it. So like Dirge of Cerberus and
Oh,
all the
God.
other things don't even exist as far as I'm concerned for now, and I may change that opinion after more installments, but at the moment that's where I stand on it. And so Kevin, since you have actually rewatched Advent Children, what do you think?
I feel like the animation is starting to really not hold up. And my favorite version of it will always be the extended cut, just because almost all the extended scenes are funny bits with the Turks.
I'm telling you, the Turks are the best. They're
the only thing I care about in that movie is the Turks.
I remember watching it and thinking, all that character growth Cloud had in the game is now just gone.
Yeah.
And it still really feels really weird that his cell phone, which was, I think, like a flip phone in the movie, which is now already out of date, got the same experience as one of the main characters in the game in a certain lake.
Well, that was on purpose. That was to harken back to her. That was a call out.
Yeah, with a cell phone.
A cell phone.
I get what they're doing. I still don't think it was good.
Yeah. Also, I played Dirge of Cerberus, and I literally, after beating the game, shut it off without even watching the ending cutscene because I was so done with it. I did not like that game. I completed it for some reason, and I realized I didn't care and shut it off.
I am kind of sad I never played Crisis Core.
I don't remember Crisis Core, which is possibly more damning than any of these other statements. I played it. I don't remember anything.
Now, that said, I do know that they've said that they sort of consider the 7 remake project to be the 5th installment in the compilation of Final Fantasy VII. So technically this is in the canonical overview of that whole thing. So I would imagine that things that came out of that stuff will probably play into what has happened or what's going to happen in Remake, but who knows? The next question is also, which character is your favorite to play as in combat?
I like Tifa. I really like playing as Tifa. For some reason, her controls really worked for me.
I'm giving the most boring answer of Cloud. Like, he's the character, like, video games stick you with the sword bashy guy for a reason.
I liked playing as Tifa. I played most of the game as Cloud. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I did. I really liked Tifa. Honestly, I liked everyone. You know, there were times where I was having I think one of my favorite scenes, honestly, was the moment where they throw you into that lab, that underground lab that they keep talking about. You actually get stuck in there, and you have to play as Barret for a little bit. And they just give you hallways of boxes to just blow the ever-living crap out of.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed that segment, and just, and being able to, like, kick the treasure chests. You know, he wasn't bothering to, like, lift down or anything to get anything. He would just kick it. And I think I'll give it to Barret. I played Cloud the most, and I also really enjoyed how they interpreted Tifa's abilities, especially since she has all those different martial arts moves as her limit break, and instead it's now this sort of progression that you can make use of them in the with her combat system, where she could keep adding attacks on, then you could dish them out. I thought that was really cool, and honestly, just watching Aerithus twirl her cane around while magic zapped things was just kind of cool to watch.
Yeah, she was actually really effective offensively when your brain was probably going, "Oh, she's the healer," but
no,
she's
not the healer. She's the mage.
Yeah, it's certainly in this one.
Man, Final Fantasy VII Remake. I liked it a lot.
I was actually very concerned when I played the demo and I liked it. Because historically, I've hated the demos of the Final Fantasy games I've liked. But, no, had a good time. Had a good time.
I give it a 7 awesomes out of awesome.
We're not there yet. These are the final thoughts.
Doug
We
jumping
haven't
on
gotten
me.
to awesomes out of awesome.
You introduced the section and you said final thoughts and awesomes out of awesome. And I've already given so many thoughts about this game. I love this game. I love this game, like, injected into my very soul. I actually don't play as many video games as I used to play. I mostly play Minecraft and watch Barry play games, is now what I do. And I've liked that setup. And Final Fantasy VII Remake was actually the first game in a long time where I'm like, no, that's not going to be acceptable. I have to play this thing. I say that as I'm sitting here playing Animal Crossing right now. I don't play very many video games as I'm running around on Animal Crossing. But what I mean is I don't play many games like this anymore. But I love this game so much that I came out of my semi-retirement and picked up the controller again.
That's when I thought I'm done. It pulls me back in.
That's right. So, I don't know what other thought there is to say. Oh, I know another thought that I can contribute to this. I desperately want my father to play this game. My dad has been making some attempt to get into video games. He's very self-conscious about it. Like, I bought him Final Fantasy XIV thinking that I was going to have, like, a dad of light moment with him. But he ended up putting it away because he couldn't figure out how to move and talk, and it just wasn't very good. And he's very self-conscious about, he feels like he's not very good at video games. And I have tried to explain to him, you don't have to be good at them. You just have to have fun with them. So I'm afraid that he's not going to touch Final Fantasy VII because of how shy he got. I got with 14, and also I also gave him Skyrim, and I think he also had similar problems of he couldn't figure out how to pick things up.
Okay, so this is actually not 7 at all, but a suggestion. Look into maybe getting him and playing with him Minecraft Dungeons.
Ah.
Because it just came out. It's essentially Minecraft, but Diablo.
Oh, that's a thought.
So it's like a top-down, like, loot-based, like, beat-em-up type thing. And it's not exactly an easy game, but it's got a lot of the Diablo cruft, like, taken away. Like, it really is, boils down to just a good,
What's the current PlayStation treasure hunter games, where you're like a guy and you're a treasure hunter?
Thinking the Uncharted series?
Yeah, the Uncharted series. He played the Uncharted series and he got about halfway through each game, and he kind of liked those.
He should play the other halves. The other halves are also good.
Well, but so he's very self-conscious about not being good at the video games, and so I think he's afraid that Final Fantasy VII is going to be too hard for him. But I really want him to play it. I don't want him to be turned off by the difficulty of it, because it's really, 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 really good, and it was so formative of my teenage years that I really want to share it with my dad. Which is an odd thing to say, because he should have been very formative of my teenage years.
Well, I mean, and this is a game that sort of was very formative on them and their years, not teenage years, but of their creative teenage years. And this is them coming back to it. So I could see why you'd want to also, after coming back to it, you'd also want to see your dad also come back to it. Now that makes total sense. And I'm really glad that they finally, Division 1 finally knocked it out. They hit one out of the park. They had to go back to the well of 7, but they've done a very good job with it, and I can't wait to see the next installment. So, Kevin, how many awesomes out of awesomes that is not the number 7 will you give to Final Fantasy VII Remake?
It's like there's a number built in. It's just so obvious.
But you can't take it. It's already been taken.
9 possible sexy dresses for your heroes out of awesome.
There you go. And I'm going to give it 1 mighty folding chair slammed into some goon's face out of awesome.
Oh, man. You ever think he was like, you think there's just a moment of, but you're the sweet innocent one, right before that chair smashed his skull in.
They deserved it.
Yes, they did.
So this has been the OSMcast, your podcast for everything awesome. Thank y'all so much for listening to us. Like I mentioned earlier, please go give us a review of your podcast thing of choice, whether it's iTunes, it's probably iTunes or Apple Music or Apple Podcasts, whatever Apple's calling these things. Please give us a review. 5 stars would be great. That's how we can be found by more people, besides me begging people to like us on Twitter. That would be very useful. You can find us at OSMcast.com. You can send us emails. It's all listed. Leave comments, what have you. I look at them. We also have Twitter. I'm at It's Basil Time. Kevin's at Twitless_Kevin. Doug's got a Redbubble store under Imitsu. There's an amazing mask that you can buy and wear to keep yourself safe. I know that Tobias has from Third Impact has already bought one. It's already modeled for us, and it's a vision. Let me tell you.
So I have a question about that. Did I make it too big? Like, because I wasn't sure how the printing was going to work out. Like, this is a new product that they just started, that they just added to their store as of the COVID-19 outbreak. So, like, on Tobias, like, the artwork looks a little bit bigger than I was expecting it to be. Do I need to go through and make it smaller, or is it fine the way it is?
I think it's fine the way it is. I think it adds.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like it. I like it a lot. I hope Charlie legit got it put on a pillow, but we'll see.
Nobody has ordered the pillow version of it yet. But several people have ordered masks, so...
Excellent. I would love to see at the next con, when we can do cons, but we still want to make sure we're protected. I'd love to see fleets of people with my face on them.
Currently, it comes in lovely basil blue, but basil, if you want it in a different color, I'll put it in a different color. Like, that's...
I mean, you can do as many colors. I mean, if you want to do it in rainbow, like...
Well, the problem is that I would have to put it that many times up on my store, but...
For each color?
I'm guessing it's not like a t-shirt or something where you can pick multiple colors.
No. I have to pick the background for it, which I don't like. I wish, like, I designed it so that you can put it on any color, but that's just not how the shop is set up. So I have to give it a color that'll go with for now. But if you specifically want that color to be something else, I can change it to something else.
I mean, I like the color the way it is. So it also kind of reminds me of the sort of blue that you see what people wear with scrubs.
Yeah.
So I like it a lot. So yeah. Also, I should point out that our theme song was composed by DJ Inabito. You can find it at djbino.com. He also does a lot of streaming. Our boys John and Mike also do streaming every, I believe, Tuesday and Friday nights. They have their stream channels called These Are Video Games. It's These Are VG. They have a lot of fun, and we got to support our boys on the awesome fronts. And thank you once again for listening. Thank you both, Kevin and Doug, for joining me on this podcast to talk about Final Fantasy VII. And until next time, I will also mention, of course, there's the Carbuncle Chronicle, our podcast for everything awesome Final Fantasy XIV. We've done 2 episodes so far, so look out for the 3rd one. It will have actually happened before you listen to this one. But hey, so also look out for the next week for episode 4. Until then, thank you all very much for listening, and we are out.
Giant Meteor 2020!